Hello and welcome everyone. How are you doing on this beautiful Thursday morning or Thursday night for some of you? Thank you for coming and hanging out with me and asking your questions. This is a 2000 sub celebration. I cannot believe I made it here. I feel like just yesterday when I started my channel. It feels like just yesterday when I started my channel. And I was having these feelings of who's gonna listen to me and why would people watch my channel and what special do I have to say. But knowing that you all are here and still watching the content that I'm creating helps me feel that people are here to watch and I will continue to create as long as I can. So thank you so much for your support. This is an Ask Me Anything, which means you get to ask me any question. Before we get started, I'm going to get some tunes going. Also, if you're asking me questions on Discord, please come and ask the questions in YouTube because I'm not looking at Discord, but Arjun kindly is sharing the questions here. So thank you, Arjun. Let me get some tunes going. Alright, hello WebDev Journey. Hello Muhammad Shahid, how are you doing? Statics OS, how are you doing? Arjun, as always, thank you for your help and support. Webhub Eswarla, watching from India. Wow, cool. Nice to see you here. Hello Dawn. Good evening in midnight, Shruti. Is it actually midnight in India? Almost midnight. Statics, where are you from? WebDev also read questions from community post. Good reminder. Thank you. I'm going to open that post right now. Statics OS India. Cool. WebDev, congratulations, Shruti. Hope you reach 1 million soon. Thank you. I hope so too. WebHub. Hi, Shruti. Hi, WebHub. Just notice it's all themed pink color. Yes, because why not? And I'm also dressed in pink and red, which was not intended. From India. Hello. Hello from India. Hi Azimuddin from Twitch. How's it going? I love all these questions that are coming in. Thank you for adding them in the chat. Please keep adding them. I will review them as I go through these. But before that, I had received some questions and I'm gonna go through them as well. I've written them down on the on my phone. Can you please stop the background music? Oh, is it too loud? Okay, I'm gonna move it on the side. Thank you for saying that. Okay, before I get started, I'm gonna quickly introduce myself. I've got my chai here. I hope you all have a drink because this is gonna be a chatty session. Okay, so as you know, my name is Shruti Kapoor. I have been a software engineer in the front-end community for over a decade. Damn. Oh shit, 11 years now. 11 years. I did my. I'll give a little bit background about me. So I was born in New Delhi in India, and I did my grade 12 in India, and then moved to moved to Canada with my parents, and we immigrated there as a family when I had just finished my grade 12. So I did my undergrad in University of British Columbia in Vancouver, which Pepper is here. Pepper is also here. She might QQ a little. Um, so I did my undergrad as a electrical and computer engineer with a specialization in software engineering from University of British Columbia in Vancouver, which was a beautiful university, beautiful campus. I learned a lot. While I was working at university, I also started taking odd jobs here and there. I would take whatever I could get my hands on because I wanted to earn money so I could pay for my education. So I used to work in the chemistry lab on campus, and I also used to work selling knives at Cutco, which was a very fun and interesting experience. I would go to people's houses and sell knives, and this company Cutco, they made me buy the first set of knives that I was supposed to sell, and I was a new immigrant at the time, so it costed me $100, and I did not even have $100 to pay them. So I had to borrow it from my parents, who then complained about me having to buy my first set of knives from the company. It felt like a scam. And then I would go to people's houses and I would demo them how to use these knives. This apparently is like a set of very exquisite knives, and they are like one of the best knives you could ever get. So I would go to people's houses and convince them to buy the knives. I did not make a single sale. You know why? Every single knife was at least $100. It was extremely expensive. And people that I knew were all immigrants as well themselves. So no immigrant is going to buy $100 knife. So I did not do really well in that job. And so I earned my first paycheck, and after that I had to leave because I couldn't make any sale. So they asked me to leave. So that was my first experience of working in Canada. And then I moved, I started engineering in school, and I was working in the chemistry lab, but also I started my own company as well. So I realized that a lot of the small businesses in Canada, they needed a website, but it was, let me move this closer. This might be better. I realized that a lot of companies in Canada, especially the small businesses, they needed websites, but it was really expensive to get a website done by an agency. They would charge them like thousands of dollars, $10,000 just to build like a landing page. So I would approach these small mom and pop shops, and I asked them, and I told them like, hey, I'm a software engineer and I would love to make a website for you. And I would offer them in 1/10 of the price. And this is how I started getting my first web dev clients. I was making WordPress sites, I would make plugins for them, I was making Drupal sites, and I was able to convince them that WordPress is the way to go because you can add content yourself. So you don't need anybody else to manage your website for you. You can do it for free. And they really like that idea. So that's how I made my first business deal. And I was super excited about it. One thing that I always recommend people who are in undergrad is to go for an internship. Even if your university doesn't offer it, because I know not all universities in the world offer an internship program, you can also apply for side projects or freelance projects while you're studying, and that will help you get projects and practical experience on the resume. And that helps a lot, especially when you just graduate fresh out of college, because you then stand out a lot more than somebody who has no experience at all. So while I was in college, I also did internships at a physics lab in my university, and also Honeywell, which gave me a lot of really good experience, because at the physics lab, at the physics labs, it was a seismology lab, I built the Drupal site. I learned Python there, so I got a really good experience there, and I was able to take that and basically use that experience to get my first business clients. So it was a really great experience. Okay, I'm going to take some of these questions in here. Thank you for all these questions. I'm going to start by the first question, which is, I will complete Epic React course by Ken C. Dodds. Where to apply, and also learn from your course and YouTube content. Need job, minimum pay $200 per month. Okay. So Statix, I'm guessing you are in the US. Where to apply, getting no response. First thing I would do is getting your resume reviewed by somebody. One thing that I have been suggesting folks is that when you are creating your resume, make sure you have your resume open and then you have the job description open. And when the job description mentions keywords, things like, independently worked on or created and developed, make sure your resume reflects that, because your resume is not most likely getting passed through a tool. Therefore, it is important that you write those keywords that the tool is looking for a match. So basically what the tool is doing is just making sure that you are a match. And so if you pick the job description, get those keywords out and reformat your resume in such a way that you are talking about your experiences using the keywords that they have mentioned, it'll be a lot easier for the tool to pick you up. So that's number one. That's just getting noticed by the tool. Second is getting the right experience as well. If you are just getting out of college, are you just getting out of college? I'm trying to see. I don't think you mentioned, so I will assume that you're just getting out of college, or maybe you're just looking for your first job. So if you're just looking for your first job, the number one important thing that people are going to see is what experience do you already have. If they're comparing you with somebody who is also just getting out of college but has like 5 different projects that they can show and demonstrate, then they're going to pick that person, right? So in order to make sure that you have demonstrable skills, you can also build projects on the side. And you also already mentioned that you'll complete Epic React course, which is awesome. I think that course is great. Ken did a great job. And meanwhile, you can also build projects yourself. You can build any projects. You don't have to wait for like any course. For example, if you want to learn like streaming, then you can build a YouTube clone. You can build a WhatsApp clone. There's a lot of solutions for these already out there, but also these projects will show you how you have demonstrated these skills. Hello, Pepper. Got distracted. But also these projects will show how you've demonstrated these skills. So if you're just getting out of college, make sure that you have a few projects to show, especially in your relevant job description field. So that's number 2. Then the third is where you are applying. If you're just posting on the job boards, or if you're just applying to the company portal, it is most likely going to get submerged in a pile of other resumes as well. So you gotta do something to go above and beyond everybody else, right? And how can you do that? I would suggest looking for the job title, or looking for the hiring manager for that job title. And it's important that you don't approach anybody in that company except for, I'll rephrase that. And it's important that you approach targeted people in the company. Because if you approach like an engineer, they may refer you, but they do not have as much power as somebody who is in a hiring manager role or is a recruiter. So typically what I do is, let's say that I'm interested in a job at Google. I know that if I put my resume in Google's career profile, it is most likely going to get submerged in a pile of thousands of resumes. So instead, let's say that I'm looking for a job in Google and I'm interested in Google Chrome team and I'm interested in front end role. So then the next step I'll do is I'll go on LinkedIn and find a recruiter who is in the Google Chrome team, and you'll be able to find that very easily. Find a recruiter in the Google Chrome team and then look for somebody who is hiring, and it says hiring for this role, that role in this team. Target that person, because that person is most willing to help you get through the door. This way you can bypass the thousands of resumes that the company is going to get. Sometimes you may not be able to find that if it's a very small company. In those cases, you can reach out to engineers. The fourth step, I would say, is network with people you already know. And these are people who know you as well, right? If you message somebody randomly on LinkedIn, like, hey, I'm looking for a job, can you refer me? They may or may not refer you, but somebody who already knows you is a lot more willing to help you. So reach out to somebody you already know. I hope that helps, Tarix. All right, next question here is, read questions from community posts that you created long back ago. Right, I have a question from there. The question was, can you help me with networking? I think I already answered this question about networking, but a few things that I would add to that is, if you are networking to find a job, I think it's also important to approach networking as sort of a relationship building thing. Oftentimes people think of networking as a kind of like this cringy thing you have to do. But if you think about networking as a form of giving something to somebody, and then when you need something, you can give it back to them, I think it creates a much better relationship with the person you're networking with. And one example I give is, you plant a fruit tree. First, you have to take care of the tree before you can reap fruits from it. Networking is kind of like that. You establish a relationship with somebody, you help them, and then maybe in the future, they will help you as well. It's not a given. It's not, if you approach networking with the kind of mindset of give and take, it's very transactional. But if you approach it with the mindset of making a friend or getting to know somebody or building a relationship with them, you're a lot more likely to be more genuine, and people are also a lot more likely to help you. So one thing that I always recommend is you gotta put yourself into, you gotta give something to the relationship before you can take out of it. Deposit some coins before you get out of the bank. That's how I put it. So one more thing about that is, when you network on Twitter and when you network on LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn, Twitter, and now Blue Sky are great places to network with people, especially people who you like look up to and people who you've always wanted to chat with. Sometimes people send a direct message saying, hey, I'm looking for a job, can you help me? If you're blankly reaching out to somebody who has never talked to you, the chances that they will reach out, that they will help you is very low, right? They don't know you. Why would they help you? I would help my friend, but what are the chances that I would help like a random person, right? So you got to build some networks. You got to build some connection with somebody before you can ask for help. And therefore, it is important that you start looking for a job before you even need a job, which is crucial. So, for example, if you're already in university right now and you know in 2 years you're going to graduate, this is the time to look for a job. So you're going to start networking right now so that you can build connections with people who are working in the companies that you want to work in, so that when it's time for them to refer you, they already know who you are, and you're not just like asking out of the blue for a favor. Same way, if you're already working in a company and you think you need a job in another 6 months, now is the time to network. If you think you need a job in like 2 years, or you just started working at a new company, now is the time to network within your company. Because those people might leave and go somewhere else, but also if you need to move teams, these are the people who can help you. So network now. And don't start networking just when you need help. Network now. Okay, I hope I can get to all of these comments. So I'm gonna try to move fast. Watching from India. Is it challenging for you to manage work and streaming on YouTube/producing content? Oh my God, yes. It's like a full-time job. This is a full-time job, and work is a full-time job. It's been pretty hard. I also live stream every single day at 5 p.m. PST and share projects that I'm building, and live stream for like an hour or two. It is a lot of work. I think producing content itself is a full-time job, and managing that with work it's a lot. What is your go-to resource for, where did it go? What is your go-to resource to prepping for mid-senior front-end engineer interview at mid-tier companies, not necessarily the FANG tech companies? Ooh, I love this question. Okay, I love this question because interviewing at mid-tech companies may not usually involve lead code, which is different from FANG companies. So I actually created a GitHub repo that has a list of front-end questions. So I'm going to share that with you. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull that up. And this is targeted for front-end folks. If you do these questions, front-end interview questions, and I wrote these questions down from my own experience, as in the questions that were asked to me and the questions I would ask when I was interviewing people. Okay, so this repo talks about some general things, like for example, ability to call an API and parse JSON, ability to handle promises. These are not specific questions, but these are big themes. So typically the questions will be like that. They'll give you an API, they'll ask you to like parse JSON, ability to put data into state and use that to render that on the page. So they're checking like how do you manage your components, what kind of components you build, basic CSS like designing with Flexbox and adding border, also adding transitions, things like that. Ability to handle events and gather targets value. That also goes into like event handling. So you need to get value out of a field. Ability to use hooks such as use state and use effect, and ability to pass the right dependency array to use effect. Those are the main kind of themes that they're looking for in front-end companies, in front-end roles. So I would highly recommend go check out this page and try the questions as well. And then the follow-up question was go-to resource for prepping mid-senior front-end engineer interview at mid-tier companies. So my go-to resource for specially preparing for front-end is this site called Big Front-End Dev, and I will share this as well. And this is it's called greatfrontend.com now. And this is a free site. You can also get the you never did data structures and algorithms. No, that's not true. I'm saying it's less and less being asked for front-end roles. I'll talk about it in 1 second. Let me share this. The Great Front-End. This is a site that is specifically targeted for front-end folks, but also for UI interviews. Did I do data structures and algorithms? Yes. So even for questions in front-end, if you go to like Great Front-End as well, there's still data structures and algorithms, but not the same as in lead code. Meaning you are given like a data array and you have to like parse it into a certain form, that kind of stuff. But it's not like, oh well, this is a matrix, and actually I've had questions where this is a matrix and you gotta like traverse the matrix. um, Roadside Coders channel. Yeah, Roadside Coders channel is awesome too. There's also another channel which is, I'm sure you all would probably be aware, which talks about um, system design, and that is a great channel as well. And I usually follow that when I'm Gaurav Sen. I usually follow it when I'm looking for a engine for interviews. I'm like blanking while I'm talking. Gaurav Sen's channel. And this is a really great resource. I think it's a really great resource just in general, not just for interviews. Like, he talks about system design, and for any engineer, I think it's a great resource. Yes, Gaurav Sen is great. So hope that was helpful, Nazmuz. If there's any follow-up questions, let me know. Currently, I'm SAR33. Hello, SAR33. Currently, I'm pursuing my master's degree while learning and working on DSA, front-end system design, core JavaScript concepts, DOM manipulation, and much more. Nice. I'm glad that your master's degree is helping you learn all of these things. Or are these things you're learning on the side? Oh, what's your view on this? Oh, okay. Currently, I'm pursuing my master's degree while learning and working on DSA, front-end system design, core JavaScript concepts, DOM manipulation, and much more. I would also ask you, is this something that your company is teaching you, or like, is this something that you're learning in masters, or is this something that you're learning through your own? So you're learning on your own. Either way, I think what I'll answer is that this is already a great curriculum that you've got, working on DSA, front-end system design, core JavaScript concepts, DOM manipulation, and much more. Learning on my own. Okay, that's great. I think you already have like a really nice list of things that are going to be asked in the interviews. I think when it's time to apply for an interview, you will be really well prepared. So I think you're doing great. What I would also add to that is make sure that you're not just learning this, but you're also practicing them. And then also don't forget to do mock interviews. Also, for mock interviews, I have a really nice site, pramp.com. And I believe this is free. All Pramp sessions are hosted on Exponent Practice. Okay. I believe the peer mock interviews on Pramp are free. Pramp for mock interviews. Web dev journey, ma'am, could you please read my question from community post? Web dev, would you mind posting the question here? Because it seems that I may have missed it. It's not free anymore. I think peer-to-peer may be free. 5 credits remaining. You can get 5 mock interviews. All right, next question. Trying to go through all of these comments to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay. Great advice for front-end developers in the early stages of their careers, and what is the best way to stand out and make impact as an engineer in a team and also elevate your skill set? Okay, what is the advice for somebody who is new, right? Great advice for front end developers in the early stages of their careers. Build as much as you can and learn as much as you can. Don't get stuck to the framework, learn the fundamentals. Frameworks will come and go, but fundamentals, JavaScript, HTML, CSS will always be there. So if you're a front end developer who's overwhelmed by like Next.js and Remix and TanStack and React and Angular and which to go and Svelte and what's your opinion on this versus that, block all of that noise out, focus on HTML, JavaScript, CSS. Things will come and go, but if your fundamentals are strong, you'll be able to move to wherever you want. And build as much as you can. Learn the skills. Think of an idea, like think of something that you've been wanting to do, wanting to get, and build it. Like one of the things that I'm building on my live streams every day is a real estate search app, and I'm building it because I was looking for a house in Seattle and I wanted to find out houses anyway, but also I wanted to learn LLM. So I was like, well, might as well build a app. So this way I'm learning LLM, I'm learning how to parse natural language text into JSON, but also learning a new skill as I'm going, keeping myself up to date. So build as much as you can. Please read my question, Anoop. I am getting to all of the questions. One of the Indian YouTuber strongly suggested doing C++, DSA initially, and then dive deep into web dev so that anyone can learn web dev smoothly and can be able to make logics well. What is your opinion about it? So I would agree with the DSA part. I don't agree with the C++ part. I think you can pick a language of your choice and do DSA in the language of your choice. Meaning, and the reason is because C++ itself is a hard language. So you don't have to, I think personally that doing DSA in JavaScript is a lot easier than doing DSA in C++. And I have experience starting off DSA in C++. Actually, when I interviewed for Facebook, I was giving DSAs in C++ and they were surprised by the fact that I wasn't using JavaScript. And I was just not comfortable with JavaScript at that point. So I would suggest start with the language that you feel easy to understand and that doesn't hold you back. Like you don't have to worry about defining types and things like that in the interview. So I would agree with the DSA part, but for the language, pick a language that you feel comfortable with. And then initially dive deep into web dev so that anyone can learn web dev smoothly and can be able to make logics well. I think that angle is for people who are looking for a new job and that works really well. However, if you're learning front end, you'll notice that DSA is not something that you use a lot in front end. So yes, it helps you build the logics, but that DSA logic is helpful when you are applying for jobs. In my experience, I have noticed that DSA and front end experience have been pretty different from each other. So I think I agree with what he's saying, but that is helpful when you're looking for a job. When you're looking for front end roles, or like when you are learning front end or you're learning how to build a site, it doesn't really help that much at that point. How to improve the logic building? By simply building more. Getting more stuff out the door, getting it peer reviewed, being open to comments that are given to your pull requests, reading more code and learning from other people. But main thing is building more. Ooh, I love this question. Sandeep says frontend has so many frameworks now. If we need to pick only one framework, which one would you suggest? Angular, React, Vue.js, Node.js. Quick way to learn the fundamentals of all the frameworks. That is a great question, and frontend does have so many frameworks. If you need to learn one framework, I would pick React. And the reason is, even today, in most of the job fields, React is the framework that they are looking for. Experience in React is usually the first thing that people ask for. And there's a lot of content out there for React that already talks about getting started as a beginner. So React is a really great place to start. Quick way to learn the fundamentals of all the frameworks. Of all the frameworks, YouTube videos. That's how I learn. And also building the same project in all of the frameworks. Okay, I'm trying to get to questions from everyone. So if I miss your question, please post it again. LinkedIn versus Twitter. If you're approaching recruiters, LinkedIn. If you're approaching developers, Twitter or Blue Sky. Somebody said Blue Sky is mid. It's mostly people who hate Elon. There's a lot of people who hate Elon. One thing that I like about Blue Sky is that I find it a lot easier to get meaningful content from people or see meaningful content from people as opposed to Twitter, which tends to favor more controversial things or more like garbage content. So if you put like really good blog posts, it tends to get submerged in Twitter. But if you put like really crappy joke or a really crappy roast of somebody, that tends to get all the attention. So Twitter's algorithm is weird. And Twitter also has a lot of bugs. I do not know your full background, but have you worked at a mid-tier company in the past? If so, how does it compare to a top-tier place like Slack? Pros and cons. Mid-tier... Yeah, I have worked at mid-tier company in the past. How does it compare to a top-tier place like Slack? Pros and cons. I think the pro of working at a company like Slack is that there is a lot of people who are more senior than you, regardless of which level you enter. So you could be a senior staff, yet there will be people who have more experience than you have. So it is a lot easier to get the help that you need or look for mentorship within the company. The con is that things move really, really fast, and as a result, it can lead to a lot of burnout and a lot of overwhelming feelings. So I think there's good and bad in both. It depends on where in your life stage you are at and what are you looking for. Because I don't think either of those is the right answer. They're both right, and they both have their pros and cons. Node.js is not a framework really, but others are. What to do if some job posting ask for React while others are looking for Angular? By the way, folks, I'm looking at the YouTube chat. If you're posting on Twitter or Twitch, it's possible that your comments may get ignored. So if you would like, please come down to YouTube and post your comments there. And the reason is that I have a history of all of the comments in YouTube, but the multi-stream chat only shows me some messages. So if you would like your question, if I missed your question, please come down to YouTube and talk there and ask your question there. Right, so the question was, Node.js, I agree, is not a framework, really, but others are. What to do if job posting asks for React while others are looking for Angular? So, I think the question would be, what are you looking for? So Yash, please refrain from asking so many questions, because it may put you on ban. I'm trying to get to everybody's questions, okay? Right. So the question was, Node.js is not a framework. Well, hold on, I totally lost the question. What are your thoughts on Canada being 51st state of USA? Sorry, I totally lost the question. I'm trying to scroll back. Oh, there it is. Okay. But others are. What to do if the job posting asks for React while others are asking for Angular? Okay, so what I would say is, Sandeep, which job postings are you applying for and which ones are you targeting? Now, if you have React skills, are you looking to go into Angular? And if so, then it's okay for you to apply for those jobs, but also learn Angular before you apply. So if you only know React, then I would apply for React posts only, React job postings only. And same goes for me as well. I worked on Angular a long time ago, but I don't feel comfortable enough to be able to appear for an Angular interview, is how I would put it. If you give me Angular to learn and do on the job, I'm totally happy to do that, but I'm not comfortable enough to give an Angular interview. So I apply for React jobs. So I would say the same, is there a reason why you're looking for Angular jobs, or is it because the number of jobs are less and you're looking to get anywhere possible? If the second part is true, then you're just looking to get anywhere, wherever you can. I would say learn Angular before you apply for these jobs. How do you stay updated with the latest technologies and changes in front-end area? I sometimes feel overwhelmed by the constant updates. Do you have any tips on managing this over time? Oh my god, I love this question. It's so overwhelming. Oh goodness. It's so hard. Things change so fast. Yeah, I feel like I go through these bursts. Okay, so especially working at a company, you are constantly buried in your work, and you just trying to get stuff out, and it's been 3 weeks and you just pushed your project out and it's finally out through the door and it's delivered, and now you look around and there's a new framework and there's a new deprecation and Next.js has a new release and everybody's talking about it, and you're like, what did I miss? So I totally agree and feel that as well. I think keeping up with front end is an ongoing job. It's an ongoing process. So what I would say is, actually was talking about this in one of the live streams I was doing. Actually, let me share that video. And this is what I do as well. Hold on, let me find this. Let me find the video. This one. Share video. Copy. Okay. Keeping up with front end. Keeping up with the front ends. With the front ends. So this is what I do, okay? I send out a newsletter, okay? In order to send out the newsletter, which by the way you should subscribe to if you're not part of it already. I'm gonna send the link of that as well. In order to send out the newsletter, I have to stay updated, right? So it's kind of like built-in accountability. So what I do is I'll have periodic time where so for example, first thing I would recommend is signing up for newsletters, the newsletters that people send. Why? Because that information is getting pushed to you and then you can decide when to read those. So this way people are doing the job of like finding all the important resources and they just send it to you and you take your time and you read when you're ready. I love that format of getting information and then just waiting to read it. So first, I love that. Then the second is also that make sure that you're subscribed to one of these like Hashnode or Dev2 or these kind of platforms where people are posting blog posts. And then usually what I'll do is I don't tend to read blogs every day. I would read it. I would like bookmark them and then I'll have a folder on my browser and I have a reading list in there. So I'll bookmark them and post them there. Then every week I will have like an hour or 2 hour block just for reading. So then I go through these blog posts that I've bookmarked and then I'll go through my newsletters as well and just read what people are posting and what's going on. So if you do that every week, you give like 2 hours every week, you'll be updated with everything not everything, but you'll be updated with the most important news that happened in the week. And then because I write the newsletter, it is also accountability for me, inbuilt accountability that I have to be updated with what's going on. So I would also say start a newsletter, start a blog post, start a series, start a YouTube channel where you post news of what is happening. That is inbuilt accountability. Or one thing that you can do is if you are working at a company, you can be the person who posts like new things that are happening. You can give like an update of here's what happened in front end in 2024 or in 2025 or in the last 1 week or last 1 month. And this way you become the person who stands out because you're the person who's keeping up with front end, but also sharing your knowledge with everybody else. I think somebody had posted a question on how do you stand out at work. This is how you stand out. You go beyond what your job posting tells you to do, what your job description tells you to do, and you be the person who helps others and helps educate others. You missed Roadside Coders channel. What are your thoughts on Canada being 51st day? Okay, I think I'm going back into comments. Arpit Bhayani is a gem on YouTube. Agreed. Byte Go is also another fantastic channel. Yes, I think that is a really great channel too. How difficult is it to get a job without being a graduate? How difficult is it to get a job without being a graduate? Okay, so I think I'm not properly equipped to answer this question for people who are in India. And I'm guessing, Anup, you're in India. But I would talk about here. Here, even if you don't have an undergrad, you can still apply for jobs and you are still hired. I know a lot of people in my companies who have come out of boot camps and they are working at the same role that I am. So it doesn't matter what your technical background, what your educational background is. A lot of people have moved from sales jobs, from marketing jobs, from like Danny Thompson, flipping burgers at McDonald's. And they are now working as director of community at this.media. So it is not important. It is not necessary to get an undergrad or master's degree in tech in the US and Canada. I cannot speak for India, but maybe somebody else in the chat can probably answer if it's necessary to get a job if it's necessary to be a graduate to get a job in India. Shruti Kapoor, it's possible to do graduation online within a year, from example from WGU. WGU. Is it possible to do graduation online within a year from WGU? Western Governors University, online college. So I actually don't have any experience with online college in the US. But I would again go back to the same answer, which is that you don't need to have a graduation from like an elite college to get a job, or any college at all to get a job in the US. It makes it easier. I'm not gonna lie, it does make it easier to get a job. However, it's not necessary. So, I think what goes back to saying is, when people are comparing you with somebody else, how do you compare if you don't have a degree, right? For example, you are somebody who has contributed to open source. You're somebody who have practical experiences of building projects, and you have like sites, you have like your portfolio site running with all of these projects that you've built. That person, you, as compared to somebody who's just getting out of college, who has only a good college on their resume. Now, I don't know, like if they're from Stanford, I think that is a totally different thing. But like if they're from like top tier colleges, Stanford, Ivy League colleges, totally different thing. But if you're from not the top tier college and you're just getting out of college and you're somebody who doesn't have a degree, they're going to prefer you because you have practical experience, right? So I think it depends on what you're looking to achieve from the graduation online thing. If you're just looking to like get a degree and just have like that stamp of approval, totally go for it. No problem at all. But at the same time, just remember that just having a degree is not a guarantee that you will get a job. You need to have those practical experiences. All right, going back to the next question. Folks, we're going to take a short break because I've been talking for an hour. I will be back in 2 minutes after a water break. Don't go anywhere. I will see you soon. All right, welcome back. I hope you didn't go anywhere because I am back. This has been such a wonderful chat so far. Thank you so much for all of your really insightful questions. I love all these questions. Please keep them coming. Put them in the chat. I will try to get to them as soon as possible. I'm trying to get to every single question by every single one of you. So if I tend to miss the questions, please feel free to post them again. But also don't spam them. As a reminder, this is an Ask Me Anything, which is a 2000 sub celebration. I cannot believe that I reached 2000 subscribers on YouTube. So as a thank you, I'm doing this Ask Me Anything. Speaking of which, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, what are you doing? Go ahead and subscribe. I'm waiting. Subscribe now, please. Thank you. I was answering one of these questions, so let me go back to these questions. So the last question I answered was, is it possible to get a job without being a graduate? And the next question is, should we start migration existing React project to React 19 or Next.js 15? Should we start the migration? Okay, again, it depends. Where are you, which project are you trying to migrate? How much traffic does it take? Who are the developers who are going to be working with you? Are they experienced React developers? How do you plan to tackle the migration? What part of React 19 are you most interested to adopt? What features do you want to take that you don't have right now? Or even Next.js 15. Next.js 15 has deprecating changes as well. So how are you going to handle that? How much time do you have to tackle migration? So I would first answer all those questions before thinking about whether or not you should migrate to a new version. I think when the newest version comes out, these questions we always have, which is like, should I do the migration? But the first question I would ask is, do you even need to migrate? What is that you're missing right now that you need to migrate to? For example, if you are building a really big form and it's a painful process for you to do that form and handle that form, totally. React 19 makes form handling much easier. I would 100% move there. For example, if your app doesn't have good memoization built already and you haven't focused much on performance of that app, totally. React compiler, you can get that. You don't even need to have React 19 to have the compiler. You can have it for React 18 as well. So I would totally migrate. But if you don't have any of those use cases, what is the use case you're trying to solve? So first I would ask that. Ma'am, would you please read my question from community post? I'm trying to find your post, web dev, but I can't seem to find it. I'm trying to see where did you post it, but I can't seem to find it. Maybe send me a link of your question, web dev. Learning on my own from Namaste, JS, BFE, Steve, currently in the part of JS Lovers co-organizer, Chennai chapter. Oh, that's awesome. Good for you, sir. Your thoughts on Justin Trudeau? Anoop says, please read my question. How difficult is it to get a job without being a graduate? Already answered that. How do I approach meetups and become a speaker? Oh, I love this question. Okay. Actually made a video on this, so let me share the video. But I love this question because this is a great time to be applying for meetups because it's January and a lot of meetups are now planning their speaker lineup. So this is a great time. Let me share this. Copy. Applying to speak. But quick tips I will give is, in order to approach a meetup, I would actually go on meetup.com. And I don't know if India has the same site, so maybe check there. But I would go on meetups.com and DM the speaker on Twitter or LinkedIn. And I would think about a topic that you want to speak of, or maybe 3 topics that you want to speak of, and share that with the speaker or share that with the organizer and tell them that you are interested in speaking. And if you have posted a blog post about that topic, even better. So do your homework before going and applying, and share your topics and let them know that you're interested. Oh, give me 1 second. Somebody's here. Okay. I have somebody coming in at 11:30, which is 20 minutes. So we have 20 minutes to chat. Right. So let them know that you're interested in these 3 topics. And if you have blog post already, that would be helpful a lot. So do a little bit of homework before you go and talk to the organizer. But that is the number one thing I would say. Then if you also go in person to a meetup, or you attend a meetup online, let them know that you're interested in being a speaker, because most of the times meetups organizers are always looking for speakers. If you're part of their Discord channel or Slack channel, let them know that you're interested in being a speaker. So show up for yourself and speak up for yourself and let people know that you're interested in being a speaker, and they will notice you. But also make sure that you've done a little bit of prep work in advance. How do you find enough motivation to learn some new tech to cross the barrier of laziness and procrastination? Or you just have to have the inherent passion to learn something extra? I think learning something extra definitely requires some inherent passion for sure. Motivation to learn something new and get out of your comfort zone is extremely helpful. Helpful, I would say, not necessary. To learn something new. But motivation, I always say, is fleeting. What you need is discipline. What you need is a system to get you out of your laziness and get you keep going. It's the same thing as working out as well. It's so easy to feel that you don't want to do. Motivation comes the first day when you want to work out, and then 3rd week in you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. But how do you keep showing up for yourself? It's the same thing as going to work. You don't want to go to work, but you have to go to work because you want to make money, you want to feed your family. So it's the same thing. I don't feel motivated. Well, actually, that may not be true. Not always would I feel motivated to learn something new, but I have to learn something new because in our field, things change so fast and you have to keep up with it. So what I would say is, if you don't feel motivated today, it's okay. But tomorrow, set a time that you will show up for yourself. Give yourself. So that's what sometimes I feel like our body is telling us that we are overwhelmed, or our body is telling us that we need a break. And sometimes we tend to ignore it. And that's when it becomes even harder to do something out of our comfort zone. So what I would say is, understand what your body is trying to tell you and understand what your needs are right now. If you feel that you are feeling, if you're feeling tired or if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe take care of that first today. But tomorrow, put some time and show up that time. Also set up a system so that when it's time to show up, you already have things ready. Like I was talking about bookmarking some links and making sure that you have something to read. Make sure you do that, because if you are not ready with everything that you need for that time, it's going to be even harder to show up. And people say the same thing about working out. If you're going to work out, make sure you have your mat ready, your clothes ready, your dumbbells ready, whatever you need ready, so that when it's time to show up, that is one less thing you have to worry about. That is one less thing that can pull you down. So if you have to keep up with tech, make sure that you're bookmarking those links already. Make sure you're saving those links already, so that when it's time to show up and learn something new, you already have it ready. It feels like just cloning and building is very bad. It only makes me feel like I'm doing very basic stuff. I think if you're just copying and just literally copying the tutorial, of course, you feel like you're just doing something basic. But if you're building something from scratch, you'll be learning a lot of stuff. DSA makes you engineer, front end comes under it. Spicy take. Hello, I recently graduated from my BTech. Hello, Harsha. Got internship in US startup, awesome, and PPO, but layoff happened and my offer rescinded. Oh, that sucks. Now struggling to get a job as fresher, as company ask senior dev than junior dev. I think that always is the case, Harsha, unfortunately. When you are a senior, people are looking for junior developers. When you are a junior, people are looking for senior developers. I'll give you an example. I have been I was interviewing for a company, and they turned me down saying I was too senior and they did not have a role for such a senior person. So literally, you could be too senior or you could be too junior. It's really hard to win with these companies, but all I would say is just keep applying. There's a lot of companies still looking for junior devs, so just keep applying. Don't give up hope. You will find the job. Whether you find it next week or next month, you will get there. Don't give up hope. What strategies would you recommend for transitioning from building personal projects to securing paid freelance or full-time remote work opportunities? Great question. So basically transitioning from a hobby project to something that is maintainable, you can secure paid work out of it. I think there's a few things there. First is clean code, maintainability of that code. So when you're building a hobby project, you obviously are the only one, hopefully, maybe you're the only one working on it. But when you transfer it over to a company, or when you move it over, or when you're working in a company, your code is going to be worked on by so many people. So the number one thing is how maintainable is your code. And if you're building a hobby project and you want to kind of showcase that as your pitch for a freelance project or pitch for a remote job, get it peer reviewed by somebody. Get it reviewed by somebody who can give you comments on how to make that code better, readable. So that is number one. Second is scalability. When you're building by yourself, that's not something that you're thinking of, but when you have to go at a company, or when you have to even build a freelance projects, maybe the project itself is supposed to scale to every country in the world or multiple countries in the world, or has to take a lot of traffic. So how are you going to tackle those? I think the difference between having a hobby project to having a project that is deployed in a scalable place or in a company is how easy to go from here to here. So if you can kind of show that, or already show that you're on the path of that, or have a path to get there, it'll be easy to show that you are somebody who has already thought of that. Oh, WebDev, I see that you posted a question. Thank you. I'm from India. I completed my BTech in mechanical engineering from a tier 3 college. I graduated in May 2023. I tried preparing for government exams. It didn't work out. From September 2024, I started learning MERN stack. Till now, I completed computer networks basics, HTML, CSS, JavaScript basics, DOM, going on. My question is, someone with this background career gap, can what they need to learn to enter into IT? As a web developer or software engineer, do we need to learn C, C++, DSA, get a job, or just one stack is enough? Can I get target product based companies or only early startups? Accept people from non-CS and career gap people. Could you please provide roadmap for people who have non-CS degree in bachelor's and have career gap and want to land a job in IT as a web dev? Okay, software engineer. Gotcha. I think that's a great question. So it seems that you have all of the skills that you need, but what you're missing is practical experience, and that career gap is showing up negatively for you. Do I understand your question correctly, web dev? Yes. Okay, sweet. Okay, so I think you already have the skills, the theoretical skills that you need. So you're good there. What you're missing is practical projects. To get practical projects, you don't need to wait for a company. You can get a freelance project. Go apply on Upwork.com, Fiverr.com. Mention all of the skills that you have and start getting projects. Even if you are the person who's applying for the cheapest bid, go get it. Start building projects in your resume. Okay, your background is mechanical engineering. That's still a BTech. That still counts. From a tier 3 college, doesn't matter. Graduated in May 2023. Okay, so it's been like 2-ish years. Gonna be 2 years. What they need to learn to enter into IT. Okay, so you already know C, C++, DSA. OS, CN, DBMS, MERN stack to get a job, or just MERN stack is enough. Just MERN stack is enough. Can I get target product based companies or only startups? Here's what I would say. Don't limit yourself to product based companies. Go get whatever you can. Why? Because you have a career gap and you want to minimize that gap as much as you can, right? So get whatever you can as soon as possible. First thing, get a freelance opportunity. I'm asking if I need to learn all C, C++, DSA. Just MERN stack is enough. Just MERN stack is enough. Don't need to learn C, C++. You need to learn DSA when you're applying for a job, if they're asking for lead code questions. Okay. So here's a trick. When I apply for a job, I would ask them, are you looking for lead code questions? Or are you looking for front-end roles? If you're looking for just front-end roles, you don't need to worry about DSA and lead code, okay? But when you're applying for front-end roles, what you need is React skills. They will ask you that, JavaScript skills. So that is something that I would do. Now, if you're not applying for front-end roles, if you're applying for back-end roles, that's different. You need to know one language. MERN stack is good. I would ask, if you're applying for back-end roles, what is the language you're most comfortable with? JavaScript, Java, what is that you're comfortable with? Be good at that language. Meanwhile, as you apply for jobs, you should also start applying for freelance projects so that you have that experience in your pocket. Abhishek Raj. Hey Abhishek, how's it going? Amar Khorke. Hello, Amar. Should we worry because of AI? What are you worried about? Naughty editor. It's 12 a.m. in India. I have to go office tomorrow, but also wanted to watch your stream. Oh, thank you. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. Hashmi Muqtadir. Good morning. Good morning, Hashmi. Where are you joining us from? Muhammad Shahid. भाई गाजर का हलवा खिलाना चाहता था तुम्हें, बट अब सूर्य वंशम वाली खीर दे दूंगा. कंट्रोल भी मत करना. Vaibhav, Aishwarya. I suppose career gap is not such a big thing unless and until if you have like a really long break, like a year or so. I suggest to create a GitHub account of showcase all of your work. Great advice, Vaibhav. Mark says AI will replace devs. Your thoughts? Are you talking about Mark as in Mark the Salesforce CEO, Amar? Or Mark Zuckerberg? I doubt you're talking about Mark the Salesforce CEO because he said something similar. Tell Mark I said hi. Tell Mark I said hi too. Please don't give up web dev journey. I'm sure you will get a good opportunity soon, considering if you have learned a lot and tried to keep practicing continuously, those efforts would definitely help. 100% agree with what Vaibhav said. +1. Thank you, Vaibhav. Anoop, how many jobs have decreased after AI? A lot. Oh, not a lot. Jobs have decreased. Substack is amazing. I use the app on a daily basis. Awesome. Good for you, Nazmuz. Nazmaz? How do you say your name? Nazmaz. Find it super helpful, just trying to keep up. I am already subscribed, Shruti Kapoor. Thank you, Nazmaz. I appreciate it. Is it possible to do graduation online within a year, for example, from WG? Okay, I think I already answered that. Can you suggest any boot camp? Ooh, I'm gonna have to look up. I have not done boot camp, so I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Not the paid ones at least, but Free Code Camp is what I love, and I always suggest Free Code Camp. And it's a free boot camp, so if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Free resources. Oh, thank you for following Neo Trinity. Oh. Why is this over here? This should be over here. Maybe I'll put it here. Right. What are the most important non-technical skills that a remote developer should have to excel in a US-based company? Ooh, I love this. There's another question. Who do you look up to for inspiration in developing your skill set and knowledge in the field of front-end engineering? Oh, I love that question. Okay. What are the most important non-technical skills a remote developer should have to excel in US-based companies? Communication, being honest and transparent about the progress of work, being outwardly, what is that called? Outwardly communicative about what you have done and sharing that with the group. One thing that I struggle with personally is sharing the progress that I've made, and I have gotten so much feedback on how I should share more about what I'm building. So that's what I would recommend from my personal experience, which is let's say that you're building a project and you've got a 1 week timeline to deliver. You've got to give updates on that progress during that week and not just at the end of the week. This is the update. This is the feedback that I've gotten. Usually what I would do is I'll just like put my heads down and just like be coding, and at the end of the week I'll be like, okay guys, I've done this. But what people are looking to also see is your progress throughout the week, especially if you feel that that project is going to be delayed. The more you communicate, the better it helps to generate trust for you, and the better it is for other people to manage their responsibilities with other folks as well. So being communicative really helps. Being open about what your progress is and being more and sharing more helps a lot. Also, turning your camera on. Such a simple thing, but it shows that you have actually showed up with everything that you've got. That you're an active participant. Turning your camera on helps a lot. Who do you look up to for inspiration in developing your skill set and knowledge in the field of front-end engineering? Love this question. A lot of people. I love Jason Lengstorff. He's always building newest stuff. I love him so much. He's one of my favorite people. Tanner Lindsley always has so much knowledge to share. No, so much passion to talk about the stuff that he's building, but also he explains it in such a nice way that it makes it very easy to understand. Same way, my friend Tejas explains concepts in such a nice and simple manner. I really, really like him. Cassidy, always up to date with stuff. Her newsletter is awesome. That's one of the newsletters that I look up to. It's one of my inspiration newsletter. If you're not following these people, you gotta follow them. I'm gonna share them in chat. And Kent C. Dodds. He is so persistent with the stuff that he's building, and he's so disciplined. I actually interviewed him on Fireside Chats, and he was talking about how he would spend 4 hours after his full-time job to work on his side thing, and that gave me so much inspiration to actually dedicate time properly to the stuff that I'm doing, and not just being like, yeah, I'm like, not just a hobby, but actually be disciplined about it. I'm going to share his Fireside Chat. I love that. Okay. So here's the Fireside with Kent C. Dodds. I also have Fireside coming up with Tanner Lindsley as well, which was amazing as well. And if you haven't watched Dave's chat, I think you all would love it. Dave actually moved from India to US, and he has a similar story to what you guys are talking about, taking a gap year and worrying about missing skills and things like that, and how he kept building and kept showcasing what he was building. Dave's Fireside is going to be super inspirational. And I can take one last question because it's 11:30 and I have to go somewhere. Let's see. I'm going to scan through these and pick maybe like a burning question. Does job market become very tough after 8 years of experience? Not necessarily. Salary negotiation techniques. Ooh, I love that question. Let's do that question. There's a question from Neo. How do you expand skills in FE? I worked in Angular for 3+ years, but struggling to learn React. Ooh, I have a course. There's also a lot of really good resources on React. Neo, if you're looking to learn. So I'm going to share that. React course. FreeCodeCamp also has a lot of great resources. I already shared the link to FreeCodeCamp, so you can check that out as well. But let's talk about negotiation techniques for salary. Okay. Number one salary negotiation technique is leverage. What kind of leverage do you have right now? how can you bring it to further advance your salary? Okay. So let's say that you're looking for a new job and you have been offered X amount by a company. If you have another offer, it really helps to cross negotiate with the company. So if you have X, you tell the other company that you're looking for X plus 10%, and then you tell them that you have an offer on X already. So let's say that you have, I'm going to give an example of like 100,000. Let's say you have a 100,000 offer and you have two offers at this point. So you tell the other company that you already have an offer for 100,000 or maybe a little bit more. You can always inflate if you want to. And they tell them that I'm looking for 120. They may not be able to match 120, but they'll give you 110. And now you take this 110 back to the first company and you tell them you have a counter offer for 110 from another company. Or you tell them 115. Can they match it? They may not be able to match up to 115, but they may be able to do 112. And now based on which company you want to work at, you go and select that company. Remember, salary is not the only thing that is important, but a company that is willing to pay you more may also demand more from you. So think about that as well. Okay, so that's if you're looking for a job. Let's say that you don't have a job. Let's say you don't have another counter offer. You just have the one offer. You can still tell them you have another offer. And you can also say that you are also interviewing with other companies and the other companies are giving you the following range. Let's say that they gave you an offer and you don't have any other offers in hand and you don't want to lie about the other offers as well. What you can say is, this offer is a little bit lower than what I was expecting. I was expecting 115. I have done my market research, and make sure you've done your market research. I've done my market research and I've seen that roles in this range are starting between 115 to 130. Just an example. So where do you think the company can meet me? And then they will go back and talk to their HR, maybe come back with a counter offer, or maybe that will be their final offer. If that is their final offer, you can always ask for a signing bonus. You can say, okay, I understand you may not be able to do another 10 grand, another 10,000, but can you meet me with a signing offer of 10,000 so that my first year's salary is this much, and then next year you can start asking for a raise again. So that's if you're looking for a new job. Now, salary negotiation techniques when you already have the job and you are trying to negotiate at work is a lot harder because leverage is low. Again, if you have a job offer from another company who's willing to pay you a lot more higher or just higher, that helps a lot. So what you can say is that, okay, but this is a risky move because if you have a counter offer, the company knows that you're willing to walk away from the company. So do this only if you're willing to walk away from the company. If you have a job offer already in hand, you can tell your manager that, hey, I found a job at this range. Do you think that the company would be willing to increase my salary if I intend to stay here? And this way you can get a hike at your own company. But just remember that that is a risky move because if the company says no, you may have to leave or the company may ask you to leave. So that is salary negotiation tips. I hope that helps. But folks, we are over time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me over the last 1.5 hours. I know it is late in India for a lot of you folks, and I know a lot of you folks are actually signing in from the US while during a work day. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, for supporting me. It has been an incredible journey getting here and knowing that I have your support to reach this milestone, which I can't imagine that I already got here. Thank you so much for helping me get to 2,000 subs. This has been such a wonderful chat. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with me. I will see you soon, and I will see you at the live stream, which is at 5 p.m. and we'll be building an AI app. Thank you folks for joining and for all of your great questions. Bye.